Yeah, I wanted to, learning, he's talking about the shemesh, comparing it to the nefesh. And that's it kind of creates a very big dilemma, because nefesh and shemesh are really different worlds. Nefesh is a living entity that clearly has a stake in what it's doing and is involved in what it's doing. Shemesh, the way we perceive it, and in fact, in the physical world, it is, as Sheminism puts it, a dumb ball of fire. So where is the comparison? So I wanted to show back in the Chumash that Shemesh is not what we perceive it to be. We already discussed it. The wonder of the Shemesh is, if it is in fact a ball of fire, how can it continue to burn without any effect, any change in its status, in personal status, for thousands of years? We're not talking about for a long time, thousands of years. So we explained very quickly that Shemesh is not a ball of fire. Shemesh is an entity of brightness, a behirus, an etzem behiri, an etzem that is bright. That is what the Rebbe created. And it has a true presence in the world. That's what the Pasuk says, like we said, that the Shemesh is memsheles, rules the world. It has a true presence in the world. It has a stake in the world, in a certain sense. Although, yes, indeed, it is inanimate. But its creation is such that it has a presence in the world, and it has part of its creation is to be effective in the world, in a very significant and a very profound way. Not just the automatic light that emanates from it, but the Shemesh is part of the very fabric and reality of the world. Thus, when the effect of the Shemesh upon the world is blocked off, like the Rebbe says, the ananim, the clouds interfere, block it off. It should be reflected on the Shemesh, because really its effect on the world is part of its being, of its initial creation, part of its reality. This is what I wanted to show in the Chumash, and then we'll go back to the Maimer. In the Maimer, we will start in the middle of the top section of Kuf Lamed Tes, with the line that begins with Hagilui. When we get back to it, it begins with the word Hagilui. Okay, I want that we have the Chumash in mind. We should open the Chumash to Pasha Aleph, Posuk Yud Dalet. The Pasuk says, "Vayemer Elokim, Yehi me'eretz v'ki hashomayim." There should be me'oretz luminaries in the sky, in the heavens. Lahavdil, to distinguish, to separate, between the day and the night. The hoyu, and then they will be leoisos as indicators, signs, ulamayadim, and for periods, ulyomim, and for days, vishonim, and years. And then the next pasuk, v'hoyu limeoilis, and it will be luminaries, v'ki hashamayim, in the heavens, v'hoyu al horas, to illuminate the earth, v'hichein. And it was thus. So let's take it in Rashi. Particularly the Rashi that I want that we should look carefully into it. Pasuk Tesvav, the V'hoyu limeoilis. V'hoyu limeoilis, and they shall be for luminaries. This to us would seem to be the very basic significance, presence, the definition of the luminaries. So look at Rashi carefully. Rashi says, "Oidzois." Additionally, not only all the previous things that we said, there will be for days and years and signs and meyadim. And all that. And also, in addition to that, oidzois, furthermore, in addition to that, they will also serve as yoyin loyim, that they will illuminate the world, bring light to the world. Bayas, from our perspective, the way we see it, Ma'oris is the primary being, the primary presence. It's the brightness of the sun, the fire that illuminates the world. That's what the sun is all about. So Rashi says, no, this is an additional inyan. Oidzois.
Which Rashi here?
Tesvav. Oidzois. In addition to all these things that we listed, these very significant things which is part of the very creation of the world. The periods, the months, the years, the day and night, all that, this is the part of the structure of the world. In addition to that, they will also bring light to the world. Oidzois. Ishamshu. I want to point out this. Rashi does not say this from his own perception. Rashi is interpreting the words of the Pasuk directly. We learned from REBBE that Rashi is supposed to be learned not from the words of Rashi, beginning with the words of Rashi, but from the beginning with the words that Rashi quotes from the Pasuk. Interesting. In this Rashi begins his quote not from the word moiros, but from the word v'hoyu. And the question is, what does Rashi need the word v'hoyu over here? V'hoyu means there shall be. Where is the word v'hoyu? Rashi does not say anything about the word v'hoyu. The reason Rashi quotes the word v'hoyu is precisely for this emphasis that Rashi says. The Pasuk already speaks about the luminaries. And it says in the previous Pasuk, Yudalet, v'hoyu le'oises v'miyam, they will be for oises, for signs, l'meyadim, and periods, u'lyom, b'shonim, and days and years. They've already described what they shall serve as. Now we come again, behoyu, and they shall all be. When it says behoyu and they shall be, it means that we're telling something over and above the other things. And additionally, there will also be, this is why she says, oizois. This behoyu, that Rashi quotes from the Pasuk, is what brings Rashi to say, oizois ishamshu. Additional to that, they will serve this in you. Because the Pasuk begins with hoyu. They shall be. Which means that this is an additional presence. Additional presence in the Me'oilis is that they will be luminaries. They will illuminate the earth.
Is the point here that the sun will primarily separate between day and night and be assigned and appointed seasons for you?
That's right.
And that it's, by the way, also provide illumination.
Well, no, it's by the way, but this is an additional meaning. In other words, this is not what defines sun.
Okay.
The sun is part. That's what I explained yesterday. Please listen carefully. Try to understand what we're learning here. The Rebbe says, "Hey, the sun does not bother if there is anonym." Where are you coming from? The very essence, the definition of sun, is that it defines what the world is. It's not of a secondary service. It's part of the definition of world. The sun brings the definition of world into focus, into reality. Along with that, it also brings brightness. Not to say that this is of secondary value, it's great value, but it is definitely an additional inyan. That's what the Pasuk says about Vahoyu. What?
Like supplemental, like second, not primarily. I mean, what's up?
I don't know how to evaluate its significance, but clearly it's a separate Vahoyu. Its primary Vahoyu is defined in the Pasuk that describes their creation, and then in addition to that, it also brings light. Let me explain what this is about. There is the defining factor of what the creation is, the world. A world without days and nights, and without days and weeks and months and years is not a full-fledged world. The world is what's called the Mokim Uzman. World is identified by being defined within place, space, and time. This is what world is. Space and time must have these denominations.
Denomination.
Entities. Months and years and so forth. And this is why it says, this is the structure of the world. But then it also enriches the experience of the world by bringing light to the world. The world would be complete, so to speak, even without this light, because, as you said, you can get around the world by touch, by feel. It's there. It's a real thing. But the sun enriches the presence of the world. It does not create the world. The creation of the world is by giving it time denominations. The service, additional service, that's wonderful, but this is enrichment of the world. And it will serve that they will illuminate.
What's the denomination? What's the word denomination?
But
what's the word denomination?
Chalakim, sections. This is day, this is night, separate times, periods, denominate. Mechalek,
The principle of world is that it is a composite. It's put together from different different entities. This is why it's world. In godliness there is everything, but then it's one reality. In world, it is subdivided into different entities, and as a result it creates time, beginning and middle and end. This is what world is. Much to speak about it. Just want to point out. I wanted to show this Rashi. This Rashi, anybody who learns Rashi with some attention, say, what is Rashi saying over here? Or is it Shamshu? They will also serve for light. Light is what the mirrors are about. Rashi says, no, the Posik says, no, that's not what the case is. There are two Vahoyus. First, it says, Vahoyu, there will be Liyom, all down the things that he defines, and then also there will be L'moed to Kirah Shamayim. This is what Rashi's explanation is. So the primary presence of the sun is part of the primary creation of the world itself. It's not an add-on to the world. Light is an add-on to the world. It enriches the world. But day and night, months and periods and so forth, the vision of world, of the time, and the vision of time, this is part of the essential, the initial creation of world. Well, that's what world definition of world is.
But the original light of the first day is it's not an add-on. That
No.
isn't an add-on. That's essential.
It is an add-on. The Haraya, it was taken away.
I thought it was so that there would be day and night.
No.
No?
Day and night is creation created by the Ma'oris.
Ma'oros, so the sun is a ma'or. The moon
And
the star.
Rashi said, and the Pasuk said, look in the Pasuk. Look in the Pasuk, in the Pasuk you doubt. Read it.
V'yomer Elohim yehi ma'orot barakia hashemayim lahabdil bein hayom uvein halayla v'hayu la'otot moadim u'leyamim v'shanim
Go ahead.
v'hayu l'ma'orot.
Okay, Ma'oros, this is the luminary. Before it becomes luminary, it already identified days and nights, days and years. That's a cycle.
So, but I'm asking about the first yehi or.
I'm talking about. You mean the first day, in the
Yeah, the
creation?
first day.
So that was removed. That was taken away. That was taken away because the world was not fit to use it. It nullified the physicality of the world. This is much to speak about. Just want to show you this pasuk. So the point which I'm making, and Rashi clearly says it. We are carefully learning it. There is an essential an essential reality in the presence of the luminaries, in addition to its niceties, it's illuminating the world. It's a part of the creation. It makes the world into a world. Because it divides the world into different periods. A world that does not have periodic definitions is not a world.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Because so much stress has been put upon the fact that the world is no longer a groping place through touch. It becomes a place to see. And it's a different, so it changes the whole nature of the...
Okay, Okay, let's get back to where we're up to. We'll get back to that. I'm trying to get into the Maimon and explain, make sense of what the Rebbe explains. Okay, that this is what we focus on, and that's why I brought the Chumash to show us that there is an essential contribution of the luminaries as part of the creation of the world, not as enrichment of the world. If you have a room and it's dark, is the room not a room because it's dark? It's still a room. You bring light, so now you see it. This is clearly stated in the Pasuk, and Rashi explains it in such clear words, as brief as Rashi is. The second, V'hoyu, Pasuk Tesvav, is telling you that this is an additional service. This is not part of the initial creation.
Fine. And all of this is to point back to the fact that if the sun is obscured by clouds, it's kind of surprising that it continues to shine the same way.
It's unaffected. But this is its part of its primary reality.
Well, two things. One is, if they're clouds, why does it distract from its primary reality? It's still creating the season and illuminating the earth. So a cloud does not really distract from its work.
Well,
meaning because it's not direct. As if to say, because it's not direct sun, it's like not illuminating. It's just a cloud. We're saying
that's right, but if the cloud does not allow the sun to fulfill its mission.
Because it's not direct sunlight. It's still daytime.
No, but that's right. There's no light.
Fine. As if to say there's no light. Fine. Then secondly, we don't seem to be able to get away from the fact that the sun, however important it is at the end of the day doimim.
Okay, good. That you're struggling. You have to try to understand as much as I should try.
Okay.
Okay. This question is easy. So.
Could I ask you a question? The whole time we were learning
What happened?
No, he got away.
No.
You got away, huh?
Can I ask a question?
Shucks.
The whole time we were learning Shemesh is Yoni Gili, but now it sounds like the primary union of Shemesh is Moedim.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Moshe, you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't hear it. I only heard some whisper. Okay, now go ahead. What is it about your question?
The whole time we touched the Etzem union of Shemesh is Gilui, if I understood it correctly. But now the primary union of Shemesh sounds more like Moedim and Zman. Question number one. Question number two, why does the Torah circle around at the end and go back to the union of Yom V'Layla?
Okay, so let's finish the scene and then we'll try to put everything together. I just wanted to point out, because we have encountered a tremendous difficulty in the Maimer. We are learning the Maimer, not Chumash. In the Maimer, he says that it's an amazing thing that the sun continues to shine in full force, even though the clouds don't allow it to reach its light into the world. How is that a crisis? The sun doesn't care what happens. So we explain, we're showing that the sun is part of the very fabric of world. It is not merely a light that makes you see the world. it gives you a definition, it defines the world. And therefore, if there's an interference with that defining factor, then that should affect its presence, its purpose. It's not fulfilling its mission, its reality. This accessory may not support it.
Don't worry about it.
Those things can ruin your Just wanted to show this so that now we can go back into the mimer and perhaps we can focus in and try to understand how the Rebbe looks at it. We have to try very much to try to see how the Rebbe looks at it, not how we see it, because we see it from a worldly perspective. I said we'll start on the line that begins with the word Vahgili. It's smack in the middle of the top section. And towards the end of that line, Ukmoi Be'ir HaShemesh, because that line is still speaking about the Nefesh. So the Rebbe, this is the conclusion of a certain point that the Rebbe says that if the Nefesh were compelled to give of its light, to be revealed, if it has no volitional aspect, then the Nefesh would be giving its light even if we put it in a Guva Bheim. Although it's a complete mismatch. K'moi, as this is true B'Ein HaShemesh, in the sunlight. So we will stop at this. Sunlight? How you compare sunlight to Nefesh? And this is why we brought this down. The sunlight is part of the fabric of the world. Harei, behold, gam she'ananim mastirim, even when clouds conceal. Ve'nei meir ba'ilom, and it does not shine in the world. Mikol mokom, yet still, nimshach mimenu ha'oir. The oil is drawn from it. Let's continue, so we'll have the whole presentation. Already it is perplexing, but then the Rebbe elaborates. The Kanal Perik Mehei, the Agam, and although Shesham, that there in Perik Mehei, which was explained, Nizbayr, Shezehu Mipnei Shehu V'Bchinas Oyer. That the reason that the oil of the Shemesh continues to come forth, although the clouds block it, and it's not permitted to fulfill its mission. So we explained previously that it does because it is b'chinas oyer, because it is b'china of oyer. Oyer means not shefa. It does not have as its defining factor of shefa to be mashpia to affect something, but just to show itself. Oyer. V'hainu, which means to say, she'ein leitola b'kelim. It's not keli dependent. It's not dependent. This oil of the shemesh is not dependent on the receptacle. It is b'chinas oil. Just revelation, rather than the effect of it. This is in order to point out that even though its mission is being interfered with, it doesn't accomplish it, still the light comes forth. In contrast to the nefesh, that when the nefesh is in the guf habema, the oil ha-nefesh does not come. And this is what the Rebbe is saying. Mikomo came still, even though that in the shemesh is not exactly the same as a nefesh, because the shemesh, oil ha-shemesh is just oil. It's not keli dependent. Mikomo came still. Gamze muva mizeh. From this fact that the oil ha-shemesh, from the fact that the oil ha-shemesh continues to emanate from the sun, from the fact that it continues to emanate even though the clouds prevent it from reaching its target. We see from that From that we see that the shemesh is muchra ba'agilui, is compelled, it has no choice in the matter. V'hainu, which means to say, shein boy inyan ha'yisalmos v'heder ha'gilui. It does not have the whole phenomenon of yisalmos, of concealing, being concealed in itself, heder ha'gilui, not being revealed. It does not have the option of not revealing itself. Okay, the Rebbe spent some time on explaining. The shemesh is muchrach ba'gilui. It is compelled to give up the gilui. It does not have the ability to withdraw its light. Although we already explained that with the shemesh it is oir, and it's not keli dependent. So maybe that should be the explanation why it continues to shine even if it is not fulfilling its mission. Why do we say that this is proof that it's behechrech, that the sun is compelled to give up its light? Maybe it is because it doesn't care about keli. In any case, not keli dependent. Because it's just oil. It's just showing its presence. So the Rebbe says, Mikomokim still, okay? Still, I'm trying to point out all the explanation from the Rebbe. Gamzeh muvah mizeh. This too could be understood from this principle, from this factor. What? Shuhu muchrach ba'agilui. In addition to the idea that it's not keli dependent, it should also be recognized from the fact that it continues to shine, that it's not muchrach, that it's muchrach ba'agilui. It is compelled. It has no option of removing. Shein b'hiyasamus. It doesn't have the inyan hayisamus v'hadragili. It doesn't have the whole phenomenon of being concealed, of withdrawing its gilui. What makes us say that the fact that the sun continues to shine, even if there is no keli, even if it doesn't fulfill its mission, it's because it is muchrach, maybe because it's not keli dependent. He doesn't care what happens to it. Yes keli or no keli. What makes you say that it's muchrach, that it has no choice but to shine? So the Rebbe explains, Sheharei, since that hagilui mehanefesh, the gilui from the nefesh, who gam kim b'bchinas oir. The gilui from the nefesh is also on an oir level. It is not shefet from nefesh; it's also oir. V'haraya, and the proof this, but to show us that the gilui from the nefesh is also in an oir manner, not shefet manner. mizeh, from the fact that when the nefesh is mechaya the guf, the nefesh is not changed.